Hi, how you doing? And welcome back to a video on the channel. This is the weekly video where we take a review of the latest game week, Game Week 11, as well as a preview of my team going into Game Week 12. If you are new to the channel, please do like and subscribe. It is free and it does make a difference to a small channel like ourselves as we push towards 100 subscribers this season. So let's get into the team for this game week. And I don't really want to spend too long on here because I think if you'd have set me the challenge of getting the lowest scoring team possible of players that are actually going to be on the pitch, I don't think I could have done a worse job than the team that was actually on the screen right now. Onana was my highest point scorer, which if you'd have said that before the start of the game week, I think I would have absolutely panicked. But it is consistent throughout, especially in midfield and attack for those 2 points. It was unfortunate as well to have Lascelles on the bench. I was pondering whether to do a double Newcastle defence. I thought against Arsenal, no. Decided to start Dan Burn rather than Lascelles. It was like a 50-50 call. Dan Burn unfortunately went off at half time and got 0 points. Lascelles stayed on and got 3 bonus points. Now, for Sunday's game when Liverpool were playing, I was like, right, okay, maybe Lascelles might get on if somebody doesn't start. Simicast didn't start and then came on for 1 point himself. So I do have Lascelles 9 points stuck on the bench, which is essentially half my team's points that I could have got more on there. But it is what it is, and even though I didn't do very well, I think the bonus part of having a lot of highly owned players is that when your players don't do well, they also don't do very well for everyone that's owned them. So having high ownership players does benefit in that regard because when your team doesn't do very well, you don't slip down the ranks too much. And I'm amazed to still be in the top 50k, just in general, but especially after this game week. And after 11 game weeks, that is just, I'm over the moon with that rank. So hopefully we can kind of recover this game week. And let's take a look at the fixtures. So as we get the fixtures on the screen here, there is no Friday night kickoff. It is just your standard Saturday lunchtime kickoff. So do bear that in mind with the deadline. Saturday's fixtures don't look too bad. You've got Arsenal, Man United, and Newcastle all playing. So it'll be interesting to see how those players get on. I think if you own any players from those teams, it'd be great. Newcastle hopefully don't get any more injuries. This is being recorded whilst they're playing in the Champions League. So if they can, keep the rest of the players on the pitch, that would be pretty beneficial for our plans going forward. Sunday's games are pretty much the same. You've got Liverpool and Man City and Chelsea all playing. Brighton at home to Sheffield United looks pretty good. I think in terms of captaincy, it's pretty much up in the air. I think this is maybe the most open captaincy game week we could have because, especially because Haaland is flagged, we'll see close to the deadline what the state of play is with him. But for me, I think I'd still be okay captaining Haaland if he's fully fit. I think that's just a safe option if you've got a good rank so far to just, play the ownership card, as it were. I think if you don't own Haaland, I think Liverpool at home to Brentford is still a good fixture, but I'd also be maybe looking at an Arsenal attacker like Saka at home to Burnley. I think that is a really good option as well. Maybe you want to take a wild card on somebody and maybe captain, Rashford or Bruno Fernandes. I think if that's the way you want to go, I think Luton at home is a great game to try and do that. But bear in mind they did do pretty well against Liverpool in their most recent week. So onto the team for this game week, and it's considering I am thinking that this last game week is a bit of a one-off. Hopefully, I've got that many players in the team that are doing pretty well. I would say I'm not going to hit the panic button. I also can't really hit the panic button because I've got two transfers to use. I've not got my wild card anymore. But the fixtures on the screen right there look okay. Now Dan Burn is red flagged and he's injured until I think January. So I do need to use one of my free transfers on him. Whether I want to use two transfers is, you know, I'm not too sure about just yet. I kind of want to see how the flags on Matty Cash and Haaland's look towards the weekend. But in terms of taking out Dan Burn, I've got two options that we're going to look at. So my first option is Livramento. So for me, he's even cheaper than Dan Burn at 4.3 mil, and his ownership is so small that he is going to be a differential. I think with the amount of injuries Newcastle have, I think tonight when they're in the Champions League, you've got Trippier playing left back, and then Livramento's coming in at right back. So for the short term, at least, whilst players like Botman, Dan Burn, and Matt Target, they're out injured. I think all of them are out until pretty much Christmas time. You would expect Livramento's minutes to go way up, and he is a good player, and he's playing for a team that are in the Champions League. So doing like for like and getting Dan Burn out and Livramento in looks like a reasonable option. I think in terms of fixtures, Bournemouth, Everton, Fulham, and Luton all look pretty good. I know they've got a couple of tough fixtures in there as well. Chelsea, Man United, although at least both those games are at home, and Spurs away, although yet to be seen how Spurs injuries go. So it's kind of hard to justify getting in a double up for Newcastle defenders. My other option is Soufal. So he is the same price as Dan Burn, and I've had him in already this season. Went through a stretch of getting like I think 3 assists in 3 games, which is super great for a 4.6 million defender. Now West Ham's fixtures do look a lot better than anyone's really. You've got Forest, Burnley, Palace, Fulham, and Wolves in that run of games. Now the problem I've got with West Ham is that they're not actually getting the results, and they are conceding a lot of goals as it stands. So for me, I am leaning towards Sue Fowl. But if you do have, anyone watching has any ideas on any other defenders I could possibly get in for Dan Burn, I think, I'd appreciate any thoughts. Likewise, if you think there's any other transfers I need to make, because at the moment, the game weeks just seem so chaotic. There's like this weekend, there was like red cards and injuries flying about. So I would like to kind of keep two free transfers each week in case I do get a game week where there is a lot of action and a lot of changes that need to be made in my team. So that is what I'm thinking of at the moment. Let me know in the comments what you think. Thank you very much for listening. Good luck in this game week, especially if you've had a bit of a dodgy game week last game week. Please do like and subscribe if you are new. And we've got the link to the latest wildcard video as well in the screen right about now. So if you are looking for some general transfer advice, maybe that one will help you out as well. So yeah, I will see you in the next one.